Hi, hello, hi. I'm gonna have to get this little tripod to sit properly here. Good morning. Hello, how are you? So, I was awakened last night at like 1:30 with my little kiddos needing different things from me, and then I went to lay back down and I got this download from God, all these things that he just started to tell me. And so, I wanted to bring it to you and share it with you. So, here goes nothing. This past Sunday at church, I was talking with one of my friends, and he was sharing about how he works for Six Flags. He went to one of the Six Flags parks. He had a fabulous time. He went to a show, and it was phenomenal. One of the singing and dancing performances. He and his other coworkers were walking around the park together after one of the shows, and they ran across the president of that specific Six Flags location. They've all heard of this guy before. They know who this guy is. Some of them sort of work for this guy. And of course, he's a kind of big deal. So they run into him. And what do you think that he would be doing at the park at this time? I would imagine he would probably be giving some kind of a speech or giving some directions to some of the people that work there or something along those lines. This man was picking up trash. They ran into him while he was picking up trash at the park. So then they start talking with him and they share with him how impressed they were with the show they just went to. And this one friend in particular has been to lots of performances. And so he was really highly impressed because he's been to really big deal shows before. So he was bragging on the show and talking it up to the president. And of course, this is the chance for the president to say, well, yes, that's my doing. You know, I run this park and, this is my park. This is my doing. Again, this president of this park tells them, well, that's actually people like him right here. And it's one of the people who are one of the coworkers of Six Flags. It's one of the guys who works in marketing. And this president says, it's not me that does this. It's people like that. It's him. He puts the spotlight on one of the workers and says, it's not me, it's him. He's the one who makes these things great. What a way for a person in charge to respond to people giving high praise to things that he clearly has worked hard on. In addition to all of that, last night in the middle of the night when I'm thinking of this story and I'm thinking, why am I thinking of all of this right now? I started thinking about my husband and how a lot of the times he gets up in the middle of the night with the kids. He works a full-time job. He's the breadwinner for our family. He also runs his own business. So on the weekends, he's often working on his second business. But every single moment that he's at home, he's invested in our family. He is here all in. He is helping to cook and clean. He's helping to take care of the kids. And these are not things that I'm forcing on him. It's not things that he does not want to do, that he's having to do. It's things that he is happy to do. He loves cooking far more than I love cooking. He has fun with it. He enjoys the kids. He has that childlike fun inside of him. So he has fun playing with them. Those are his joys. He loves to serve our family in those ways. And as I was thinking of these things, I realized a simple truth, and this is what I'm going to expand on here today. If you want to lead well, you have to serve well. If you want to be a great leader in any area of life, if you want to be a great example to anyone around you, you have to be a great servant. And a lot of scriptures started coming to my mind. Of course, when I'm thinking of this president who's clearly serving his entire park and propping up everyone else and putting them on pedestals and saying, these are the ones who do the hard work, who make this place great. And I'm thinking of my husband and how he serves me and serves our kids. And he puts us on a pedestal and says, I love each of you. You are worth it. You are worth everything. I want to serve you and love you. It makes me think of Jesus Christ as well. It makes me think of how Jesus served his disciples. Jesus washed their dirty feet, even Judas, who betrayed him. And he knew Judas would betray him. And he still chose to love and to serve. Here's all the different scriptures that crossed my mind as I thought about all these things. Matthew 25:35-45 says, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Then the righteous ones will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothing and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison and you did not look after me. They also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? He will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. You can entertain angels by serving them. All of these different opportunities in your life and my life, and these simple little things. If you're a mother, parenting your children. If you're an employee, taking care of the things at your work. If you are a leader in some form or fashion, a teacher, whatever it may be, when you are serving those that are the least of these, quote unquote, those are under you, you are entertaining angels unaware. Sometimes we don't realize that those that we are serving, it's a much bigger deal than what we can see. And I'll expand on that in just a moment. In John 13:13 through 17, it says, you call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet. This is right after Jesus washes the feet of the disciples. You also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. Now these verses here, and the next few I'm going to share with you, start to delve into the greatest will be the least will be the greatest. Matthew 19:30 says, but many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first. Luke 9:46 through 48 says, an argument started among the disciples as to which of them would be the greatest. Jesus, knowing their thoughts, took a little child and had him stand beside him. Then he said to them, whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For it is the one who is least among you who is the greatest. That is what I mean when I say these little small things that each one of us have to do every day, a part of our life, serving different people in our life, taking care of our home, taking care of our spouses, taking care of our belongings, taking care of our kids or our friends or family, showing up for other people, showing up for our job. In all these different ways that we are serving, we are doing so much more than we really recognize in the moment. Matthew 6:19 through 21 says, do not store up for yourselves treasure on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Treasure in heaven is those you have impacted. This is something I started to think on last night when I was at a Bible study. What some of the scripture here is saying, and some of these other scriptures before, back in Matthew, earlier in Matthew, this was Matthew 6:19 through 21, and then earlier I shared Matthew 25:35 through 45, where Jesus is saying that there's a separation between those who truly served and those who chose not to serve. In all of these scriptures, the scriptures talking about storing up treasures in heaven, I really feel like what's actually being said in all these different verses, and the ones that also talk about, serving the least of these, just like it said in Luke 9:46 through 48. What all this is getting at is when you stand before the throne of judgment, Jesus gets to look at you and say, you did sin. You did do things wrong. but mercy and grace are washed over you. Jesus' blood is washed over you, and those things are forgotten and they are no more. However, you have rewards stored up here in heaven. You have jewels to put in your crown. Now let me share with you all those things that you did that was serving the least of these, that was entertaining angels when you were unawares. That time that your child fell and you picked them up and comforted them and took that 2 extra minutes to love on them, you were serving the least of these. That time that you saw the person on the side of the road that was clearly homeless and you gave them the snack that you had in your bag, you were serving the least of these. That time that you were kind to the person that was very grumpy and unhappy towards you when you were going through the drive-in, and all you did was say, "Hey, I'm sorry if you're having a hard day." Very simple words. You were serving the least of these. All these little things, they're all adding up. And the root of all of this is, if we're serving, quote unquote, in order to store up these jewels and store up these treasures in heaven, if we're trying to find those rewards, if we are leading and we are trying to force that, we have power and people will respect us, when we're forcing all those things and we're trying to store up our treasures, we don't get those treasures. Our hearts are in the wrong places. We don't get the respect that we're trying to demand from other people because our heart is in the wrong place. The key is love. Ephesians 5:21-33 says, "Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband." How can a leader show love to those that are under him? How can a husband show love to his wife? It is through those sincere, small acts every single day. How can the president of the Six Flags Park show love and care for and serve all of his employees and serve the park itself? It's through all those small acts. My friend who works for Six Flags, he is so proud to work for that company and so much more proud after meeting that specific president, because he looks at that man and he says, now that is someone that I want to be like. I want to love others sincerely. I want to serve others sincerely. And I know that if I do that, I'm going to receive respect, because those who are serving me, those who are under me, those who I am the boss over, they will be drawn to love and serve me the more that I love and serve them. People don't miss this. This is the whole point that God was making for me. I enjoy serving my own husband. I love being his wife. I love taking care of our kids. I love being a homemaker. I love those things, and I love my husband so well because he loves me so well. He tells me every single day, thank you for everything you're doing. When he says that, he's saying, Rachel, I see you. I see these little small things. I see all the diaper changes. I see all the dirty dishes you're washing. I see the meals that you're cooking and the floors that you're cleaning. I see the tantrums the kids are throwing, that you are comforting them in the midst of that. I see all these little small things, and it matters. And I thank you for it. And then not only does he just use his words and say, I thank you, he shows up and he takes the dirty dishes out of my hands and he washes the dirty dishes for me. He takes the kid with the dirty diaper and he changes the diaper for me. That's how we love and serve others. That's how we are like Christ. And it starts in our own homes. It starts with our own families. We need to love and serve our own families. Yes, we are serving the least of these when we are serving the homeless or orphans or widows. However, I do feel like the way that Scripture speaks about the heart of the matter. How many of us in our heart, we feel like an orphan? We feel like a widow. We feel like someone who is homeless. We feel unloved. We feel like we have no place. We feel like we have no value. But when we have people doing these little small things, especially people who are above us, especially people who we are supposed to answer to, when those people are serving us, it is so profound. If you are a leader, if you are a husband, if you are the head over someone, if you are a parent, if you are the boss of someone, even if you do a job that you think, well, I'm not really over anybody else, people are still looking at you. You are still a leader in ways. Even if you think that you're at the bottom of the barrel, there are people who are still looking up to you. My 2-year-old looks up to my 4-year-old. My 4-year-old's only 4. She's just a little kid, but her little sibling looks up to her. She is a leader for her little sibling. We are all an example for someone else. How can we sincerely love the people that are around us and serve the people that are around us just to give it all away, just to give the love away, not to receive anything back? Our treasures are going to be in heaven. We don't have to have these people give us anything back, but guess what? When we are loving them and we are serving them and we are giving everything we have to them, they will be drawn to love and serve us back. And they will be drawn to love and serve the others that they are over. I'll close with this. Excuse me. 1 Corinthians 13, 1-3 says, If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and I give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love. Sincerely love. Sincerely serve. That's what God calls us to do. Even if you don't believe in God, try to practice this and see the ways that your world and your life could change just because you're choosing to love and serve other people, expecting nothing in return. What if every single one of us did that? What if every single one of us, our whole viewpoint in life was to just love and serve those that are around us? What a different world we would live in. We would all have all of our needs met because we would all be serving one another. That's what we're called to do.